This is O-Talk, a podcast covering the Ontario Hockey League. From people within the game. Oh, yeah.
Hello, everybody that listens to the O-Talk podcast. This is your host, Jordan Jacklin, joined alongside Josh Kim and Frankie Benvenuti. How you boys doing this week? Starting with you, Josh.
Man, it's an exciting week. Season's getting going. As you probably can tell, not in my home studio anymore. Was on the road today. So, in a bit of a different setup, but there's not a better backdrop in hockey than the iconic Maple Leaf Gardens, and that's where I'm at right now. A lot of notable OHLers have played here. Shane Wright, Brant Clark, and then all the way up to this past year, Michael Misa was here. All for that GTHL tournament, and they're all future OHLers and current OHLers, of course. But great to be back and ready to get this thing going.
How about you, Frankie?
I don't know everything about the standings right now, guys, but I know that if you take a look at the top of the East Division, there's a team up there that's a little bit of a 2-0 right now. So I'm feeling pretty good. It was a good start to the week here in Ottawa.
Definitely. And before we get into the hockey and the exciting slate of games that have been coming throughout this last week and so on, I have a quick question for you surrounding the Toronto Blue Jays, because we are a team, we are based in Ontario here, we're based in Canada, and everyone's going to be talking about this. So we're going to make this quick. How far do you believe the Blue Jays will go this year in one sentence? You can only give it to me in one sentence, starting with you, Josh.
That's a tough one. And as much as this pains me to say it, I think they're only making it as far as the ALDS. I think they give Houston a run for their money, and I think they beat Seattle, but Houston's tough. Houston's going to be tough. So I'm trying to be as realistic as possible here.
Pretty sure that was more than one sentence.
Oh, get out of here, Frank.
It's all right. It's a sentence fragment, just a little bit of a runoff.
Yeah, get out of here.
My answer is...
There's comments in there. There's comments.
Yeah, a lot of them.
There's maybe a semicolon. Get out of here.
My answer is going to be Houston Astros are a wagon. So I'm going ALDS too. I think that the Jays window is just opening. They're going to be a good team for a long time, but there's too much on that Houston team right now.
Well, see, you guys are being realistic. For me, I've got 3 words I'm going to say. Winning, 4 words. Winning the World Series. The Blue Jays will win the World Series.
You couldn't have said 3 euros. You couldn't have said 3 words. World Series champions.
Exactly.
Yeah, that would have been better. That should have said that.
You had to say it like that. Like Frankie and I are both on the same page right here. As soon as he said 3 words, I'm like, he's definitely going to say World Series champions. And no, he says 4 words. Winning the World Series. What is that?
Yeah, you're right. Kind of goes along with my bad take there, but you know what? Let's just hope for the best.
Just a quick note before we get into the show here. If you hear like an odd vibration coming, there's a Zamboni on the ice right now. Can you guys hear that or no?
Not really, no. But a true hockey guy, Josh Kim is, doing it from the stadium.
Hey, guys, this is like, we can call this like halfway our live show or something, because I'm technically in the rink right now. But yeah, that I just wanted to point that out.
He's already preparing.
I'm already preparing, exactly.
So yeah, we're going to start something new here, and we're going to talk about games of the week that have taken on. The first week just happened here in the OHL, and I'll start us off just to kind of give a tidbit of what I think. I'm going to start off with that home opener in Niagara that had Mississauga go off against the Ice Dogs. We got our first look at Owen Flores. We talked a lot about him in some of the earlier episodes. And although he doesn't have the best rebound control, he kept the team in the game, and he's looked pretty decent for that Ice Dog squad so far. So I think he's an intriguing guy to kind of watch develop as this year goes on, just to see what he's going to ultimately be able to do. And obviously guys like Daniel Michaud and Aiden Castle were standouts for them offensively as well. In Mississauga, they got a new goalie in Beglieri who made his first OHL start in that one. And he looked great as well, stopping redirected shots through traffic, positionally sound. He looked calm. And then Zach Lavoie ultimately scored the hat trick there in overtime, including the game winner. And he's off to a tear to begin this season as well. How about you, Josh?
I want to ask you about the goaltending situation in Niagara, because I thought it was just a little bit weird that Rosenzweig didn't start this game. I fully felt that he had earned the right to be their starter last year. I thought he would come into this year as a starter. Going to Flores kind of felt to me like they were changing their mind in a sense. Like, what did you like as the Mississauga guy? What did you feel about that?
I don't know. Like Jordan has probably a better grasp on the situation than the rest of us because he was watching that game. I unfortunately couldn't watch that game, but of course I tuned into the highlights. But I mean, it's not rare for especially a rebuilding team or a team coming out of the basement to go in a different direction. Like they're not just going to ride the wave just like everyone thinks. Obviously, we talked about this last week. Niagara's ownership group has been unpredictable and incredibly fiery at best. Like they've gone out and gotten some incredible players and made it quite the shakeup of the roster even now. And so to me, like if any other team was doing this, I'd be surprised. But since it's Niagara and like there's nothing on the table right now. Like honestly, we can't really say that we saw this coming, or we can't really blame them for doing it. You know what I mean? Like it kind of is what it is, and we have to see how this plays out for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I mean, as Josh said, Niagara's made a statement this offseason. The guys they want, and if they don't really want you, they're just going to get rid of you. You know, so Owen Flores was clearly a guy they were targeting this offseason, and they'll give him a chance to get some rain here. I mean, ultimately, the team is 2-0-1 to start the season, so maybe things can turn around if they have that good start. We're obviously still early here, but
they had a great trip in Michigan, eh? Like they had a phenomenal road trip. And that's a great sign right out of the gate for a new team, like a brand new team. You're hitting the road that far early in the season. You come back with 5 or 6 points or whatever it was. That's impressive.
How about you, Josh? What's been a game of the week so far for you, Barney, that you've seen?
So I got a 2 for here. I got 2, and I'm going to explain how they merged together because they both involve the same team, at least for one of them. So my 2 picks, and I'm not sure if this counts because this was kind of like, I know we did, like there were a lot of games, like some teams played twice last week. Man, Sudbury, holy cow. What can you say about the Sudbury Wolves? And I'm not only saying that because they're in my division, and I'm not only saying that because the Colts
Steelhead's legend, Joe Ranger.
Exactly. It was like, if we're talking about Niagara putting on a statement, well, we need to talk about Sudbury putting on a statement, because I know they lost to Barrie, and that's Barrie's first dub of the season. Let's go, Barrie boys. But man, their offense, holy cow. Man, I don't even know what to say about that. First of all, I don't think Joe Ranger is like incredibly at fault for all the 6 goals he let in against Barrie. But I will say that's a young team, and all their players so far this season are taking a big step forward. Coach Adelic has looked absolutely phenomenal in the opening couple games here. And then we get to the game against Mississauga. They just made Mississauga look incredibly foolish. And I guess that goes against like kind of the Steelheads goaltending woes. But man, if Sudbury can come in here as a kind of like an underdog team, and first of all, push Barrie to the limit, which they did, even though they were down early, they made a comeback. If they can push a team like Mississauga to the limit and embarrass them like 6-2 on their home opener, and I know it's early. I should preface this by saying I know it's early, but that is really impressive. And I think that's something to watch throughout the season. And we talked about in our season preview. They're the team that's coming into this season with something to prove. And in the first week of the season, I think they've put the league on notice for sure.
I have to agree there. And how about you, Frankie? What's your game of the week?
I have a difficult time narrowing it down. And you guys would think I'm incredibly biased if I said Ottawa and Oshawa.
We need like a buzzer. We need a buzzer that says bias.
I mean, we all said our teams here, but
I know we all said our teams, but like we need a buzzer just for fun, just to go absolutely crazy with that.
Yeah, but then again, that game was 7-6 shootout, like back and forth, just crazy. But I think I have more so 2 takeaways that I want to discuss more so than games of the week. The first one, I mentioned it to you guys. There was a Slew Foot penalty in that Niagara Mississauga game. Yeah. I can't remember who. It was
Famous. It was
Famous, yeah. On Luke
Misa. I need to listen to your spiel on Slew Foots, because you went crazy in the group chat when it first happened. So I say we just give Frankie the floor and like have him go on a little monologue here.
Like, I'm not saying that wasn't a Slew Foot, right? I think if you want to call it by the letter of the law, I think it is. I just think that this league has a problem of they have coached the referees to find Slew Foots in every possible area to try to get it out of the game. Like if you look at the NHL and you look at the OHL before last season, when they really weren't cracking down on it, it really didn't exist. And then all of a sudden last year, anytime a body check was laid where a guy's foot so happened to be behind him, or, there was a puck battle and you went to go pull a guy's stick back, you stick lift him, and, he falls down. Like I just feel like they're finding Slew Foots in places where it's really not. They're making a big deal out of nothing in a sense, right? In a lot of these cases. And like last year, we saw slew footing penalties being reversed all the time. It's just, I wish they would just take a second to get these right. Not everything's a slew foot just because somebody's foot is behind another skate when contact is made, if you guys get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I think there were a lot of teams and players individually that were victim of those calls. And obviously, suspensions were handed out and major penalties were handed out. I agree. Like, I'm not saying necessarily that they're getting everything right, because obviously they're not. But then again, like, all things considered, that there is going to be a bit of a learning curve no matter what. And one can make the argument that the league has coached the referees to look out for those calls. And I agree with you, Frankie. Not everything where a player trips over someone's foot is a slew foot. I wholeheartedly agree with that. And I think in general, it might take the league just a few seasons to kind of figure this out. But you hate to see it, because obviously I don't think Pano Femus is the guy to go out and try and slew foot someone. And obviously he's going to reap the consequences of that no matter what. And it's just unfortunate that an accident can result in like a lengthy suspension. I didn't actually hear if he got suspended or not. What was the final verdict on that?
Typically, it's 1 game immediately if you get because that's a match penalty.
Match
right?
penalty, yeah, I figured, yeah.
So, but what really drives me up the wall about that is it's reviewed, right? So it's one of those plays where you should get that right 100% of the time. You have the ability to go to replay. It's not just a referee making the call and that's it. So I just fair,
though, like I hate to play devil's advocate though, but like if the slew foot is even an accident, then they still have to call it though.
Oh, like, yeah, absolutely. That's not my argument. I'm arguing that just because the foot is there when contact is made doesn't make it a slew foot.
He's not Brad Marchand out there actively, raising his leg and sweeping the guy. That really wasn't in my eyes. I get by the league definition. It probably is, but I think in other leagues, they're not calling that a slew foot.
Yeah. And that's what the slew foot rule is. It's meant to be like intentionally pushing a guy and taking his feet out from underneath them. That's what the rule is supposed to be about. It's just the way that it's worded has changed what it actually is in this league, and they've started calling it by that rule. And I just think the rule was poorly worded and wrong.
Yeah,
agree with everything you said there.
The other takeaway that I had from this week though is the Guelph Storm had a abysmal start to the season with a 5-4 loss to Hamilton in overtime. And then they got absolutely trounced by Saginaw 10-6 the next day. Like, this is a team that we thought was going to be one of the better teams in the league, and they've given up 15 goals to start the year. Like, it's not a good start for them.
Definitely not a good start, but a great storyline, eh? Newly minted captain Logan Morrison, the Guelph boy himself, 2 goals, including the game winner in his hometown, when in front of what can I only assume is a bunch of family and friends. That's the storyline you dream at the start of the season. But to Frankie's point, the Guelph Storm have been pretty bad. And I'm not going to go as far as saying that I'm going to retract my statement about them, about when we talked about our season preview, but it's not looking too good a week into the season. And Saginaw, man, I don't know. Like, they're also a team of high intrigue to me with Michael Misa and all that. So
who scored his first goal in that game?
Who scored his first goal as well? Yeah, and it was a beauty too. Skate to stick and a quick release. That was very impressive. But yeah, I think no secrets here. Like, there have been a lot of storylines to watch in the first opening week.
Yeah, with Guelph, you have to wonder, maybe they look for goaltending changes at some point, because they got great defensemen there. They got Cam Allen. They got phenomenal defensemen. You have to think that at some point, the goaltending is going to have to be addressed if they can't keep this up, but we're obviously still so early into this season. So we're going to have to see ultimately how it plays out. As we head into our News of the Week segment, Owen Beck, the Mississauga Steelhead, signed his entry-level contract with the Montreal Canadiens today. And I've pulled some insight from Eric Engels of Sportsnet, who covers the Habs over there. He's so smart out there, a pro scout told the reporters after watching him play live at the Bell Center. And even Cole Caulfield had to say he's dynamic for sure. He makes plays in the tight areas, and he's got a lot of skill and works hard. A little bit of grit in his game too. So you'll love to see that, guys. What do you think of that? I still think I probably have a bit of a bad take, because realistically, he's going to come back and he's only going to get to play 60 games. So I didn't even think about the 100-point prediction at all. But what do you guys think of that?
For our audio listeners, I can't even replicate Jordan's face while he was saying that.
You can see it on YouTube. Hopefully.
That's your real. That's the real right there. Don't even include any of what Frankie and I said. That's just all you, man. First off, I want to say congratulations to Owen Beck. A great character in the league. He's obviously very well deserved. Had a great season last year. And that just speaks to his work ethic. I think like he really took a big step forward last season and definitely made an impression. And he's still sticking around at training camp, even though guys like Matthias Norlander have been sent down and released already. So that only speaks volume to how good Owen Beck is. And obviously it's incredibly well deserved. I'm going to let Frankie speak on the Owen Beck portion, but I don't know if this is like in our plan. Obviously, Montreal's making headlines like across the board with all these ELCs, but I do want to mention Arbor Jackai as well. He is still at Canadiens training camp.
He might make the team.
And he might make the team out of training camp, which would be incredible. Going from undrafted the OHL, undrafted the NHL, and to make it right out of training camp after his OA season. I saw this tweet, and he apparently worked at Costco during the pandemic and is now on the verge of making the Montreal Canadiens out of training camp. So I thought that was a fun tidbit to throw in there. I've never spoken to Arbor personally, but he's a very intimidating presence, but I've only heard good things about him because I talked to some Hamilton staff and some of the Hamilton players about his character. So to the both of them still carving their strides at Canadiens camp, congratulations, obviously very well deserved. And we'd love to see it from an OHL perspective.
For sure. Got to give a shout out to them. Were you going to say something there, Frankie?
No.
Okay.
Oh, he's got nothing.
No, I'll stay quiet on this one for once.
For sure, man. But we actually have some leadership news, swinging it back to the O here. New York Rangers prospect Bryce McConnell being named captain of the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds, with Calvin Watson, Tyler Savard, Mark Duarte, and Ryan Thompson being named the assistants there. What do you guys think of that? Here, Frankie, what do you think of that one?
Again, I haven't seen a ton of the Sioux. But I know McConnell Barker is going to be one of the better players in the league this year. Mark Duarte, where did he play? Was he in Sioux last year?
He was a Hamilton guy, and I actually got to talk to him a little bit at Bulldogs Media Day. Really nice guy. I mean, really, really nice guy. I was kind of surprised that Hamilton let him go because he was a big part of their leadership group last year. I don't know if he wore a letter, but again, everyone knows in hockey that it doesn't really matter if you wear a letter or not. That doesn't define leadership in the locker room and on the ice. He was a very steady veteran for them. So when I saw that the Sioux put in a waiver claim and actually that was successful, I was pretty surprised they let him go. But I'm not surprised to see that the Sioux named him one of the assistants because obviously a very experienced guy in the league, and that's a perfect role for him.
Yeah, he was one of those guys last year. Whenever you played Hamilton, it's just like he wasn't going to wow you with anything he did. He was going to be one of those guys towards the bottom of their lineup, of course, but he's going to be able to.
But he was still in the lineup, though. Yeah, that's the thing.
And
he was still there.
You couldn't just rest while he was on the ice. You still had to kind of keep on your toes. Like he scored 10 goals last year. In the playoffs, he scored another 2 in 17 games. Like he kind of rounded out that lineup really nicely, I thought. And he's a good player. I'm not shocked at all that he's going to wear a letter this year.
But Bryce McConnell Barker is a very interesting story because we're seeing this trend now. It was Colby Barlow last week, and now it's Bryce McConnell Barker this week. Like teams are going younger with their captaincy, and that's really impressive. Like to me, that's impressive. We all know how good of a leader Colby Barlow is. Bryce McConnell Barker is going to be a great NHL player for the Rangers. I think when he was taken, he wasn't taken in the first round. When he was taken past the first round, and his name was tossed in there with all the other top OHL guys, I knew immediately that was a pretty good pickup by the Rangers, and this just speaks volume to him as well as a character. Now, I don't know him too well. I know he was also at the top prospects game, so that's already a good indication of what's at the skill level that he brings to the team. But again, shouldn't really surprise anybody that they're going younger. I think they want good leadership and they want it for a decent amount of time. So that wasn't exactly shocking to me.
Well, Josh, if Brad Marchand used the same ideology in the NHL as we just did here in the OHL, I don't know if he would agree with you in terms of going younger is better for captaincy. So do you think, do you agree with him in that sense, or do you think it's okay to have a younger captain, or it should be a 20 and overager?
I think at the NHL level, it's a little different. I think I definitely go more veteran presence at the NHL level just because this is the show. But at the OHL level, if you know a guy is going to stick around on your team, like barring anything crazy, like Colby Barlow is probably not making the NHL next season. So barring anything crazy, it just makes sense to go with a captain that you know is going to be there for 1+ season. Like you make an overager a captain, again, that makes sense. But that overager is leaving. So then you have to go through the whole process of naming another captain and kind of reshifting things. So to Brad Marchand's point, I think it applies at certain levels of hockey, but the OHL is definitely one of those leagues that is very flexible with that. And who knows, like, I don't know what the situation in Owen Sound is like, but I feel like Colby Barlow is one of the best leaders on that team, regardless of age. Yeah. So I think it just depends on circumstance. And obviously the Sioux with Bryce McConnell Barker have a good one. So, and again, Mark Duarte could have easily been the captain. We talked about this with the veteran leadership and everything like that. But, you know, at the end of the day, I think they have a better handle on things, and it makes sense to go with leadership for a longer period of time and make them established in the community and all that too, especially for those northern communities that are rooted in junior hockey.
And that's exactly the point that I made however many weeks ago it was with Barlow, right?
Where, yeah, you said that about Colby. You said that he could actually become a household name in Owen Sound and
exactly.
have, like, bring fans to the building and all that stuff. And that's exactly the point.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is. Like, especially with those smaller communities, right? Like, if you made Ty Nelson your captain this year in North Bay, like, I think that makes a lot of sense. He's a guy that, you know, people, young kids in that community are going to look up to and say, hey, like, I can make it. I can look up to a guy here and see a real future for myself in hockey, in the NHL or whatever, right? Like, I think those smaller communities kind of need more of that familiarity in a sense, whereas the bigger, like the Ottawas and the teams in the GTA just have NHL teams that they're looking up to. And if they're going to an OHL game, it's more of, okay, I want to see hockey at an affordable price. At least that's the way I look at it.
I agree.
I definitely agree with you guys. You know, and we're also talking about way smaller age difference here. I mean, the biggest age difference you might see in the OHL is 5 years. Typically, it's like 3 to 4 amongst teammates. So you're having a different conversation there as well. As we head into the O game, where I host for the second ever time. Welcome back to the O game. Round 2 here, me being host with Josh and Frankie having the guests and pitting them against each other. We got 3 questions here. They range from, you know, these are all relatively hard questions, so they might be.
That's great.
That means they're impossible.
That means they're impossible. Mine were tough last week. I know mine were tough. Sorry, that first one was a layup for you.
But this first one might, I guess if you're paying attention, this first one might not be the most difficult one. I guess if you're really paying attention
to what?
If you're paying attention to just the general league, I think this might be
every game that's played on every single night.
Not every game, but like if you're paying attention to some of the highlights going on, you might be able to answer this. So I'm curious to see.
What period did Michael Misa stick?
Oh my God.
So let's just get to it. There are currently 2 players tied for first in game-winning goals to begin the season. For context, they both have 2 game-winning goals. Who are these players?
2 game winners?
I think I know one of them.
I also think I know one of them too, just based on sheer math alone.
Okay, who?
Wait. Oh, wait. You're
these
saying
are game-winning
winners
goals.
as in like the last. Oh, okay. So
these players have scored 2 game-winning goals this season to begin.
So they don't have to be in overtime necessarily, though.
No.
Right?
No.
Right. Okay, that's what I thought.
I don't know that.
Okay. Well, the simple math would dictate that Zach Lavoie and Logan Morrison each have 1. Now, did Hamilton play again after? I think. Okay.
One of these teams is in the West. I'll tell you that. There's one of these teams in the West.
Well, then we're
West
done.
fans.
So yeah, sorry, West fans. Okay, I'm going Logan Morrison.
Nope, he does have 1, but ultimately does not have 2 yet to begin this season. How about you, Frankie?
I was going to say Luca Pinelli or Brad Gardner until I remembered the 67s won a shootout in their first game, so that doesn't count. Although Brad Gardner is a great story this year.
The other players in the East Division. So one's in the West, one's in the East.
Wait, can I look up the teams? Because I don't know the.
That doesn't sound legal.
Wow.
Yeah. Damn. Okay,
I'll give you 3 possible teams. It could be either Peterborough, Oshawa, or Kingston.
Don't do that.
Okay.
Peterborough, Oshawa.
Peterborough was one of my guesses. Chase Stillman.
No.
Yeah, that's not. Okay.
I'll say it's 2 strikes for Frankie. Josh has 1.
What?
Oh, what? Wait.
Frankie gave 2
to Frankie.
Well, Frankie said 2 players, didn't he?
No, I said Chase Stillman.
He was just spitballing.
I said it's not Pinelli. And
okay, so 1 strike each. We'll say 1 strike each.
And I'm winning a point right now because I know this for a fact because he scored against Barrie and then he scored against Kingston. Dylan Rubrick of the Oshawa Generals is definitely one of them.
Yes.
There it is. Yep. Called. Let's go. That's huge.
I can give you another hint for the West if you want, just because it might help.
I don't even know who's won multiple games in the West right now.
Hey, this
Well,
guy.
it's not Guelph. I'll tell you, it's not Guelph.
This guy is
it's not close.
He's an NHL prospect for an Eastern Conference team.
Oh, wow.
That doesn't narrow it down at all.
Sorry, he's in the West Division?
Yes, but he's an NHL prospect for an Eastern Conference team.
That's Guelph, London, Kitchener, right? Sarnia.
Yeah, Sarnia, Saginaw, Sioux, Windsor, and Flint.
Okay, Saginaw is 1-1, so that doesn't work. Actually, is it my guess or is it Frankie's guess?
Josh, if you want to take it, go for it, man. Because I don't
Ty Boyd.
Oh my God, you got it!
Yeah, there it is.
Wow.
I'm never gonna get either of those.
That's crazy.
The reason I know it's Ty Boyd is because I know he scored the game winner against Kitchener because I watched that highlight, and then after that I just guessed.
Okay, this next question.
Is that the first clean sweep of a question that we've had in the O game?
I'm gonna have to actually start paying attention to these games.
Yeah, Frank. Well, okay. To be fair, Frankie, like I wasn't paying attention a ton. It just so happened that the two answers were games that I was paying attention to.
Couldn't have been Brad Gardner. Hey, come on.
That's amazing. I'm so proud of myself for knowing that.
Now we're gonna head into the second question here. If you guys get this at all, I'll be shocked because this is the reason why I added the third question.
Oh, okay.
This is the reason why I added. I'm just curious because it intrigued me because I thought of the topic and I was like, oh, I wonder how many. So let's just propose the question here. So I have a list of the top 100 leading scorers in the OHL to begin the season. Only one of them has an abbreviated last name, like how Zach Aston Reese is an abbreviated last name. Can you guess which player has an abbreviated last name?
What?
Wait, one top 100 scorers from last year?
No, from the beginning this year. So, and if by all accounts, there's very few of these types of players in the league.
Abbreviated names.
Is it Bryce McConnell Barker?
No, not him. No.
Okay. So the reason I know is I'm gonna move, guys, because someone's gonna play music right now. Figure skaters are coming on, so I'm just gonna take off for a second. But this is gonna be the O game on the run here. Look at that!
Wow, look at this.
You faced the wrong direction to start.
I know. I did. I faced the complete wrong direction. Look at that. So the person that I'm going with is gonna take me a second because I have to go back in and get my stuff. Actually, this is gonna take me a second. Frankie, if you want to guess it, you can.
No.
Because I'm gonna besides Bryce McConnell Barker, I really cannot think of any other person that has an abbreviated last name in the OHL. So I understand why, and the music's starting. So I'll be back.
You might not be able. I mean, this is kind of unfair because this is another West Division team, but it will be. This was just. I was just curious, honestly, more so.
Can you tell me what team?
This is another Sarnia player.
I'm never going to get it. Like, stop picking players from Sarnia. There's just no chance that I'm going to get somebody from Sarnia.
I'll tell you this. I mean, he has 3 points in 2 games to start the season so far.
That's not going to help me at all. I need to watch a Sarnia game so bad.
And I mean, that places him 42nd in the league at the moment, if that it means anything 3 games into the season. But
I have no guess. I actually have no guess.
All right, gentlemen, I have returned.
You have, and Frankie has no guess, so it's basically up to you, Josh.
I heard the Sarnia bit. Unfortunately, Ty Boyd is the only player I know.
Did Ben Goudreau maybe score a couple points and put a hyphen in his last name somewhere?
Like, I can't even think of a hyphenated last name.
This is why I added a third question. I was just curious. The player is Marcus Lempar-Lance.
Absolutely
never
would have guessed that.
Like, it's disgusting. I haven't seen a West Division team play in Ottawa since 2020. How am I supposed to know any of these players anymore?
Jordan, that's such a slimy
so
question.
Asking me questions about the West Division, man. I don't know anything about it.
We have a good question to end it off here.
All right, let's end it off.
I think you'll like this one. So 2 current head coaches are former players of the team that they're coaching. Can you guess who they are?
Oh, head coaches. Oh my God. I know. Okay. So so head coaches, you said?
Yeah. So they're head coaches, and as players, they played for these teams.
Oh, I know one of them.
Yeah.
I think I know one of them.
Already.
So I know, okay, this is just a fun tidbit, but like, I think one of the assistants, Dylan Smoskowitz used to be Colts player. One of the staff members told me that. But I think one of them is Chris Dennis from Kitchener.
No.
I think. No?
He's not on my list, no.
Did I get his name right at least?
I have no clue. I cannot tell you if you got his name right.
You weren't expecting that guess. All right.
I wasn't expecting that one.
All right.
How about you, Frankie? Do you have it?
Is it Duncanson in Sudbury?
It is not him, no. I'll help you out here with one of the divisions that this player plays for, Central
If it's in
Division.
the West again, Jordan, I swear to God.
One of them is a West team, but the other's a Central. So there's two.
One's a West team again?
Yeah.
Okay, dude. There's no chance. I am no way.
I'm
So
not
let's just
able to
say,
give
can you
the
guess the
name.
Central team? The Central team.
I think is it?
First of all, my coaching knowledge in the OHL is spotty at best because
Yeah,
I have
mine
no
too.
idea.
What
Can
about
you give us a
the
team?
guy who
no,
just took over
no,
in Guelph?
That has to be one of them.
No.
No?
Come
Yeah.
on, why did you think of this question then?
Okay, so first, this one's hard. Like, just because I got the first question right doesn't mean that this set of questions wasn't nearly impossible, because it feels like it was. Let's see. Central team? I don't even know what. Oh, that's. Wait.
Yeah,
there's
I'll
no
list the
way.
Central team. So it's Niagara,
There's no
Sudbury,
way.
North Bay, Barrie, and Mississauga.
There's no chance James Richmond was a player for the Steelheads.
No, he
chance.
wasn't.
So that
He
takes
wasn't,
out
no.
him.
It has to be the coach of North Bay. It has to
Then-
be one of those small community teams. I just don't know who it is.
Marty Williamson was not a very called team. So it's,
Hey, while you're eliminating them, so now you've given three. There's three teams left in Niagara, North Bay, and
so
Sudbury.
Niagara, North Bay, and Sudbury. Well, did Frankie already say it wasn't Sudbury?
Yeah, I picked Duncanson.
So there's two
Okay,
options left.
okay. So problem is, I don't know any of the coaches' names in Niagara.
It has like it
Just
must
guess
be
the
Niagara.
team. Just guess the team.
Is it
at this
Niagara?
point.
Niagara.
Wrong.
Niagara.
It's North Bay. And it's
Wait, I said
Ryan
North Bay.
Ulahan. What did you say? What did you say? North Bay. You didn't actually
I
guess
said
North Bay.
I said, yeah, I don't know his name.
I don't think you guessed him.
I
though,
didn't
properly.
hear that.
That didn't seem like an
I
official
said-
guess.
It was it was definitely an official guess.
Okay, well, we'll give you the point. It's a tie.
I'm not
then.
going to give myself the points because I didn't know his name, but Ulahan does
Yeah.
ring a bell.
Or I guess
so
Josh had 2
Don't-
points,
don't-
so Josh wins anyways because Josh got both of the
we're
ones in the
both
first question.
pathetic, man. I'm actually going to have to just go like read the Wikipedias of these West
No,
Conference
seriously,
teams
you and Jordan need to pick up your game, man. I just swept a question for the first time in this game. Like you guys came up with 2 of the top 11 rookie scorers last year. I will never forget that. That moment will live. That is a famous, iconic moment.
Maybe those were some niche questions I asked. Looking back, I'll try to make it more
Frankie,
East
you have a
focused.
chance to redeem Jordan's clownery next week.
Oh, don't worry. I'm asking you nothing but who's the 5th leading scorer for the Ottawa 67s in the 2009-2010 season.
Alrighty, I'll be researching them. All of the past 20 years of Ottawa 67s.
What was Brian Kilray's coaching record?
Yes, I'll have to research. But ultimately, guys, it's been a good episode. We're trying to make these a bit shorter now. Like we went 50 minutes last week, so trying to make it more short but sweet. Do you guys have any closing remarks? Starting with you, Josh.
Yeah, I mean, this show's continuing to be really fun. So thank you guys for tuning in. Sorry for my technical difficulties. This is tough sometimes. I'm not always home, unfortunately, on Wednesday nights, and I can't be in a nice, comfortable setup. But on the bright side, we've got some great OHL action this week. I'm just going to plug my team because this is a really important stretch for us as a content team and as a hockey organization in general. But our women's hockey night is Thursday. Olympic gold medalist and world champion Jessie Eldridge is coming. She's from Barrie, played her minor hockey here. So obviously that's obviously a big night. But the more important one they want to draw attention to, and this is fitting because the statue was just unveiled in Winnipeg, but our Dale Howardchuk night is on Saturday. His family will be in attendance. There will be a ceremony, pregame. The players will be wearing special warm-up jerseys. We're raising a banner, the Raptors, in honor of Dale Howardchuk. So I just wanted to put that out there because I feel like that'd be important to mention, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing what we have in store for that. So that's it for me.
Oh, very important to mention, and we're excited to watch that as for sure. How about you, Frankie?
Slightly less important than Josh's, but Friday night's going to be fun. It's the clash of the Pinelli brothers. You guys can read into that what you will. Keep that in mind for next week's O game.
What the heck?
Yeah, just
Okay.
well, we might have something involving that, but I think it's like there's such an age gap between them. I doubt that they've ever played one another before. So this will probably be the first time I've ever played against one another, which will be so much fun. I'm so excited for that. Yeah, go 67.
Yeah, for sure, man. Erie pulls up for a Friday night matchup in Mississauga. So I'm excited to see Christian Kivers specifically on Erie, because this guy, like I said, I think he's a top 3 defender in this league at the moment. Could even win the top defenseman award this season. So it's always good to get to see really high quality players like that in these type of matchups. And overall, for Frankie and Josh, this is Jordan. This has been the O Talk Pod. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.